Hi guys and welcome to my Vanquish deck profile. I recently brought this deck to the Toronto Regionals and I think I did really good with it. Unfortunately, I didn't make the top 48 cutoff. I ended up 59th. However, I think I did good enough to justify making a deck profile on it. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. So, really quickly, in the main deck, we're going to be playing 3 Raisin. This makes sense. It's Raisin. It is probably the best card for this deck. Don't explain too much about it. 2 Jialong. Now, this is debatable to be playing at 1, 2, or 3. I think 3 is the worst option because going second, this is a card that isn't as good just having 2 of or more in hand. It doesn't do much without another Vanquish name. And at 1, it's felt really bad when I didn't have a second copy in like the grind game. So I opted to just play 2. Next, we play 2 Madlove. With the introduction of Jialong into the strategy, I don't want to play any more copies of ways to search the Vanquishal like spell and traps, and because this searches Vanquishal cards, Madlove isn't as good as before, and I also already play other dark attributes within the strategy, so I don't think this was justifiable to play too much copies of. However, this card was phenomenal into Pearly when I played into it. It helped me save a game after I was able to bounce Pearly. Next, we play 2 Borger. Now, this card's justifiable at 3. However, I don't think Valor and Imperm were that prevalent at the regional, and I didn't really need that target, target protection to be able to bounce them out to dodge it. So I opted to just play 2. Next, we're gonna go 1 Pantera, 1 Caesar. Honestly, Caesar, same logic with Borger. However, Pantera was just more of like, I kind of liked having it because this can help you make a lot of rank 4s that I play. But also sometimes I just really dislike drawing it. But you still have to play one of, I think, of this. Next, 3 Fenrir. This makes sense. Fenrir is good. Earth attribute. We don't have Maxi, so you have to play this. Good for board breaking as well. 1 Rise Heart. This card is very controversial in the deck. A lot of people opt to cut it. However, I think it is very good. Only going first though, however. So going second, I always cut this card. Or if I know I can play blowout cards, I can just take this card out. Never want to draw it. Next, 3 Staker Soul, makes sense, don't explain this. 1 Continue, 1 Dust Devil. I don't play Snow Devil in the main, I play it in the side because that card is very bad going second. This list, I've optimized it kind of to be able to go first and second pretty well. So that is why I only play 1 of each of these copies, because drawing 2 of these would feel really bad. And it has happened before in testing. A lot of people play Continue at 2. I don't think it's necessary. I think if you're at that point where you do need it, it is really bad. The one time it did come up was where I kind of wanted it in 2 tier, but at that point the game was lost, so yeah. We're going to play 1 Reinforcements Arnie, search Raisin. If you already have Raisin, never activate this because of the droll. 2 Triple Attack, might play this at 3. I still think it's really good at 2 though, and maybe play a Thrust instead. 3 Prosperity, this card needs to be limited or something, it's very good. 1 Durandal, I would cut this to play Thrust, but Durandal is pretty good as well because a lot of people won't pop their own cards. But most of the time I just equip this, summon Fenrir, equip this, and then you can search Raisin. Now, the controversial hand trap lineup I play 1 Magnet, 3 Droll and Lockbird, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 DD Crow, and 3 Imperm to round out my main deck. Now, the only justifiable one here is Ash Blossom. It's a fire, it's good, hits everything. But let's move on to a bit more of the controversial ones. Strictly speaking, why I don't play Druisworm is because of 2 reasons. 1, I never had it come up in testing, and 2, I couldn't find one before regionals. But if you were to ask if I would play the Druisworm now, I'd still probably only play the Magma because I think it's still better. And the reason I play Droll and DD Crow in the main is because I feel like this hits a lot of the matchups in the format, and it does, right? Which is why I decided to cut Dimension Shifter from the main as well. But definitely these are like kind of what I like to call, in my personal opinion, what was really good. DD Crow was phenomenal when I had it. Droll and Lockbird was phenomenal. Imperm was also really good, but it wasn't like as much of a heavy hitter. Maybe I might opt to change this into an Effect Veiler for future times I play this deck, but for now I like it where it is. Now we're just gonna go move on to the extra deck. So starting off, 3 Rock. Don't need to explain this card, you have to play 3 of. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Nightmare Cerberus. Phoenix was phenomenal this entire day, so I would never cut this card. And both of these cards can co-link to draw 1, which is really good. However, for Cerberus, I might change for Clara and Rushka, because honestly, instead of making Cerberus, I made IP, SP, the whole day. So this is alright, but I wouldn't play it again. Neck 1 XP, 1 IP. Don't really need to explain why. SP is honestly phenomenal. A lot of other Vanquish deck profiles didn't really get to use it, which is unfortunate. I think this card's phenomenal. This is my towers out. Only used it to out an Ignister tower. 1 Bagustaga, 1 Dweller, 1 Dempsey. These all make sense. Dweller hits Tier and Unchained. Baguska hits Flu and a lot of other decks. And Dempsey is really, really good. A lot of people sleep on this. It prevents you from targeting after its effect resolves, and you can also use it to search out Raisin, which in a lot of niche scenarios is really, really good, especially if you break hard in this deck, which, although it doesn't happen often, you'd rather have the option to go into it than not. Next, we played Zodiac package, makes Zeus, and then 1 Tifon, 1 Zeus. Zeus, don't even explain, this card's amazing. Tifon, however, is so good at regionals, because I feel like with this deck, right, you always want to push for as much advantage as you can, right? And this is just like the closeout of the advantage loop, right? At the end of the combo, I'll put this on like a random like Borger, and then it'll just be more than enough to end out the game more times than not. And especially into Vanadium, this card's very good because they usually out on a Dissipator and a Dissipator and a Barone, and that just stops both of them. Next, into the side deck, and probably the most controversial part about this deck profile. 3 Dimension Shifter, 3 Nib, and 2 Phantasme. This is strictly just for the Unchained matchup and maybe Rika matchup just to try to get more advantage. I think this card is absolutely phenomenal. If I could play in the main and still play Droll, I definitely would, but I can't. Also, there's a lot more Fluunderies at the regionals than I thought, so this was actually a good call in the end. Nibiru was really good as well because I got to hit a lot of random rogue matchups, and actually got to use this against Vanadium once, right? And this was actually the MVP. I still wouldn't play this at 3 though, because it only came up against Unchained, which I only played 2 at the final part, which was unfortunate because I choked those games and did really bad, honestly. Next, we play Lightning Storm Duster. This, honestly, I might test as evenly match. However, into the Rescue Ace matchup where I did play it was really good. Into, like, the Labyrinth matchup I played it was really good, right? The only problem is that, like, with this, like, card is that Rescue Ace HQ can recycle it, and Labyrinth can sometimes, like, recover from it. So this was just, like, an alright card. And then lastly, we're going to play the Funny Traps. 3 Tikaboo, Vanquish Soul, gonna have to play it. And Dust Devil is very, very good. However, like I said before, it doesn't break through boards, and it's just alright in that aspect. But its Destruction Protection is very, very good. And that's my Vanquish Soul deck profile. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my next one.